Welcome back. Welcome back once again. This is Rod Powell, and you are now joining the You Should Get a License podcast edition. Today, very excited about the guest that we have joining us. She is a leader in the industry throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. She is a principal. She runs a full-service employee benefits firm. She is also the president of the local chapter for the National Association of Health Underwriters throughout the state of Virginia as well. And just not only a big voice, in the community, but someone who really cares and someone who is always a great support system for, newer agents who are coming into the business, as well as existing professionals as well. So very excited to have her on the platform. I want to say welcome to Karen Hudgins with New Hope Benefits. Karen, welcome to the You Should Get a License podcast platform. Welcome.
Thank you, Rod. I appreciate you asking me. Thank you.
Yes. Look, I know this is a super busy time in employee benefits right now because we are entering the fourth quarter of the year where there are tons of open enrollments that are happening. So for her to be able to take some time, it really means a lot. And we're very appreciative for her to share about that space. Speaking of, employee benefits fourth quarter, this platform is to talk about the many different market segmentations that we have in our industry. And if you could share a little bit, Karen, about what your specialty is, what you focus on a day-to-day basis, and the area of insurance that you specifically operate in.
Okay. That's a lot of questions. So I will admit, everyone, this is my very first time ever doing something like this. And I feel like my logo with these, I feel like I've got this sunbeam halo going on over my head. So, just ignore that. It's going to probably drive me crazy. But what do I do on a day-to-day basis? Well, it's probably going to go back to one of your questions. The things that I love about what I do is that no day is ever the same. It is not a mundane, come in and every day is going to go exactly the same way. I founded New Hope Benefits back in 2016. I'm sure we'll talk more about that. But we are a full service brokerage catering to small to mid-sized businesses and helping them develop employee benefit strategies. And our promise is that we will make it simple and affordable and respond to our clients quickly. It's kind of our claim to fame, or at least that's what our Google reviews seem to indicate. So basically my role is I kind of do a little bit of everything. Managing the strategy, the overall strategy, implementing the strategy, going over, new account renewals, and just kind of keeping up on things. And we run 1 million miles a minute every day, especially right now. We're busy.
Right.
Right up until the minute you called, I'm like, fire. So,
yes.
So we do all things group health, dental, vision, life, disability. We have a whole voluntary benefits division where we focus on helping to bridge in the gap. So we know that medical doesn't pay for everything. And so we want to equip our workforce and the American worker with as many financial protections as they can get their hands on to ensure that, what their medical isn't paying for, loss of work, loss of time, hospital bills, that they have access to those financial protections to be able to help them out so that they're not going bankrupt. So.
Absolutely. Karen, I'm really, fascinated with this space, with the employee benefit space. As you know, this is the area that I work in as well. And, it's a segment where, when people think of insurance, they don't often think about, employees or work site. They think individual one-on-one conversations. I'm going to become a life insurance agent. I'm going to talk to someone at their kitchen table and, have dinner for 2-3 hours. When dealing in employee benefits, what do you find is I guess the biggest difference from marketing work site versus going individual to person?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one that comes up often whenever we are looking to bring on new agents. I think, we believe in working smart, not hard, right? Or we work hard, but, we want to work smart. And they make fun of me because I guess it's work smarter, not harder, or work hard. I don't know what the whole thing is, but they make fun of me whenever I say it. So anyhow, um, you know, it's kind of like, when you're in the business and let's just say you're marketing to individuals. Well, you've got to go find how many individuals in order, like everything is based on numbers and sales, right? And so how many individuals do you need to meet with in order to get one life insurance policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you beat the pavement, every day trying to find, whatever your close ratio is. Let's just say it's 1 in 4, right? So you've got to meet 4 people in order to get one policy. And so the same goes with, I guess on the flip side of that, when you're working in the group side, you may go meet with 4 business owners. And if one business owner says yes, and that business has 20 employees, well, that's what I mean by working smart, right? So wouldn't you rather meet with a decision maker that can introduce you to 20 people versus beating the pavement and trying to find 20 people, right? So, that's what I mean, we do individual on kind of referral basis, and people find us, and I don't turn it away simply because I want people to I want to make sure that people are getting correct information. There's a lot of stuff out there, and not everything is completely legit. But I just figure, I would rather meet with 4 business owners with 20 employees each than trying to go and find 20 individuals that might need where maybe one needs a life insurance policy.
Hey, it makes sense. So, it really does encompass that work smarter, not harder philosophy, right? Because, you go to that and you don't have to take your gas and go from place to place to place to place. You can be at that one work site location, and you can see all 20 of those people at one time. No, it's a great model.
Especially now, gas is too expensive. You don't want to be running around all over town trying to find 20 individuals. Right. When you can go to one business that has 20 employees, right?
That's right. So I want to get more into that. I want to talk more about, your agency, how that developed, how you really, joined the industry. But I want to take a moment and go all the way back. I'm calling this, my memory moment, because I always ask this question, but I didn't have a name for it. It's going to be called the memory moment. So the memory moment is, I want you to take me back, 9 years old, Karen Hudgins. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Ooh, 9 years old. So when I was 9 years old, I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. And I actually had an opportunity to be able to go spend a day in a veterinarian's office and just kind of, observe. And it's kind of a gross story, but in the end, in the middle of the day, right, on this particular day, they close, to all new patients, and they do surgeries. And so on this day, they were doing just plain old dental surgery, and they had to, obviously do anesthesia for the dog. And so the dog was out. I mean, the dog was fine. And this is what I remember. Granted, I was 9 years old, but what I remember is that when you put like an animal, like not to sleep, but like just to sleepy land, right? Their tongue will come out like a foot long. And it was like, they were able to like just pull the dog's tongue to go and clean the teeth. And I was like, I still remember just how disgusting it was. And they ordered lunch, and I remember they had alfalfa sprouts on the tuna sandwiches, and I thought that was disgusting. And so like now I'm like completely like triggered by alfalfa. I cannot eat alfalfa sprouts. So, like I attribute that to like dog tongue hanging out. And I was just so sick to my stomach the rest of the day. I couldn't make it. I was like, nope, I'm not going to be a veterinarian. And I just quickly lost sight of that. Nothing to do with needles. Have huge a fear of needles. Can't watch them on TV, nothing. So that was the end of the veterinarian streak. And so if we were to kind of fast forward into my whole story, I did grow up in New England, and I'm very sad for my Red Sox, but when the leaves turn brown, we have a saying, they won't be around, and they held up to the old saying. But anyhow, so I grew up in New England and went to state college in upstate New Hampshire. I was a psychology major, and loved college. Came back after college and actually went into telemarketing for my first job, selling extended warranties on kitchen appliances. And I was number one in cold calling and selling these extended warranty, believe it or not, in the evenings for a company called Lechmere. If anybody remembers Lechmere.
So are you sympathetic when you're getting those calls? Because I know you're getting those calls still right now, especially for your car, right? Don't they call you for your car?
Oh yeah, we've been trying to contact you about your toaster oven's extended warranty. That's what I did. And so, in any case, so my first job, I went to work for a research organization, and I started as a human resources coordinator, which kind of began my trajectory of my career in HR management. And so I started off as an HR coordinator, got into HRIS systems and recruiting systems. And I will also state I hated benefits. I hated insurance. It was definitely the one thing that I knew I would never, ever, ever, ever do. And then moved on to a contract research organization that actually was in pharmaceutical testing, and was there for a number of years. And, in human resources, you're either a generalist or you're a specialist. You're a generalist and you're a specialist. And it always is like the cyclical cycle. Well, when I was over there, believe it or not, found myself in benefits. And so I was managing kind of self-funded plans and the financial aspects of that, and moved on from there and worked, gosh, I don't even remember what, like after that. So yes, I was there. So I often joke, I heard by that time I was in HR, and I heard Virginia was for lovers. So I came down here, I found myself a husband, and the company I was working for fully relocated me for a newly acquired organization to implement their standard operating procedures, new hire, open enrollments, and all that other stuff in this new location. And so I got married and was working there, and eventually moved on and started just doing some freelance HR work, consulting work with a consulting company. And that consulting company ended up closing down. So I ended up working for one of my clients in government contracting, which is really big in I was living in Northern Virginia at the time. Got married. And at the point where we decided that we thought we might want to start a family, I got into selling lipstick, direct sales. Never got a pink Cadillac, but I did earn 2 cars, a couple of diamond rings.
All right.
And built a sales team of about 50 women. And so I was working full time. I left corporate America after a couple of years and worked my lipstick business for a number of years. And when we were living in Northern Virginia, when the kids were 1 and 3, we decided that we didn't want to bring them up in traffic, and we moved to the Richmond area. And so when my youngest was about to go into kindergarten, hold on, sorry, I can't talk right now. When my youngest was about to go into kindergarten, I realized that the good Lord did not design this woman to be staying home and teaching ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and being home for the 3 o'clock bus. She needed to go back to work in a corporate world, in an office. And so I kind of just fell back on my roots and went into benefit administration. I just wanted to push paper, do enrollments, process paper, and make enough money so I could pay my mortgage and shop at Wegmans. That's all I wanted to do. And so I ended up starting working for a small brokerage. It was just the two of us, and the Affordable Care Act passed. And we realized that as a small brokerage, we needed to align ourselves with a larger agency that might give us more resources to be able to do more things and go after bigger fish, because we really wasn't sure what the future of the group benefits might be. So we went over there, and over the course of the 3 years that I was at this larger and national organization, I learned a ton. And after about 2 years or so, one of my mentors came to me and said, you know, we really want you to sell. And I said, well, I don't want to sell. I want to do it because I enjoy it, but I don't want to do it because I have to. And I was talking with a mentor friend of mine, and I'm always very appreciative of her. And she had asked me, she said, well, in 18 months, if you were to keep on doing the things that you're doing now, what do you see yourself? And I said, well, they'll, give me a 3% raise. They'll increase my health insurance rate by 5%, and I'll constantly go in the hole and 2%. And so she goes, if you go into sales, where do you see yourself? And I said, well, the sky's the limit. If it's to be, it's up to me. And, I'm in control. And she said, well, I think you know what you need to do. You need to go back into sales. And I was like, all right. So I finally acquiesced and said, all right, I'll become a producer, and started producing for that company. And through a series of different management changes, found myself in a position about 9 months later, where they came to me and they said, we're sorry, Karen, but we've lost our confidence in your ability to sell. And I'm like, really? I said, that's interesting. And they said, well, interesting, why is that? And I said, for this past year, I really just feel like God has had me. I'm a Christian, all disclaimer. But I really felt like God had me on the brink of something bigger. And, my God has promised me a life of abundance and not of toxicity, honestly. And I just think that he has something bigger for me, and I don't know what it is. And, I remember the elevator doors closing, and they said, good luck. And I said, no, good luck to you. So in case any of them are listening, I'll hold back on the rest of that story, but feel free to contact me and I'll give you all the ins and the outs of what really happened. So I went home and, just started praying about like, what's next? I have no idea. And so where I live, there's a huge reservoir, and I was walking along the reservoir one day, which I now refer to the shores of Galilee. And all of a sudden I just started running these numbers in my head. And I was like, wow, I think, I called my husband and I said, I think God wants me to open up my own brokerage. And I had interviewed with a couple of different brokers and a couple of different organizations. And, I just kind of felt like I was starting at ground zero. And why would I start at ground zero and still be putting money into somebody else's pocket, right? Why would I go and take 30% when I could keep 100% and bonus, right? So I started just kind of crunching some numbers and called up my husband and told him what I thought was going on. And the reason why you see the sunbeams behind my head is because I walked out onto this deck, and I have this little saying called God kisses. And when the sunbeams come through the clouds, and you just see those beautiful beams coming through, I call them my God kisses. And it's just a wonderful reminder to me that God is in control. And all of a sudden it just hit me like, oh, New Hope Benefits and Consulting. Let's go back and give New Hope back to small businesses that are getting tossed off to the side by these larger agencies. Not to say anything bad about the larger agencies, but smaller businesses just don't get the time and the handholding from larger entities than they might get from a smaller brokerage. And let's just kind of flip the model and do things different. And my husband said, well, can you do that? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, what do you need? And I said, $500 to get a laptop. And he goes, okay, well, here's $500. Go get yourself a laptop. And within 24 hours, we had New Hope Benefits approved with the SEC, the Bureau of Insurance. All my lines of authority had been transferred over. It never happens that easily. And just the most wonderful people started coming into my lives to help me and mentor me. if I were to do any shout outs, Deb Stocks, Dottie Allen, Ashley Core, Chris Renkar, Lindsay Waters, just amazing people that just kind of came across my path if I hadn't already known them, and just walked me through and helped me get started. And so now we're here 5 years later. October 1st was our 5-year anniversary, and we're still rocking and rolling. We've got a full-time worksite benefits producer. We've got one coming on. We've got an account manager that just started with us about a month ago, a new account manager. And so, we've really been providing opportunities for people to kind of get their feet wet and learn. We know that they're not going to retire and stay with us forever, although we would love for them to. But I just believe that if you help enough people get what they want, they're going to help you get what you want. And so, continually pay it forward. If it's here for 3 months and I can teach you something to help you and your family be more successful with somebody else, then, I've done my job. And so when I go to heaven and I wake up one morning and I'm facing my Lord and Savior, I hope I can honestly say that I gave, I used everything you gave me, and I listened. So, that's what I hope. And so New Hope Benefits is really just kind of based on giving new hope back to small businesses and being able to do things different and give them tools and resources. I always like to say we want to give you big benefits at a small benefit budget. So, so that's kind of what we've done.
No, I love that story. I remember when you shared that with me. I mean, it was like a wow moment. So I can't, wait until, people can hear that, because there's a lot in there. One, you have something that's divinely inspired, connected to, your spiritual walk, but it's also something that says, don't be afraid. Right. A lot of times when you speak, when people say they have faith in something, or faith in themselves, faith in God, they still have worries. But in your story, there was no worry. When you went through that transition, it was like, okay, hey, I know God has a plan. This is a part of the plan. Let's keep going. And you just took everything that came to you after that and utilized that, to build your business. I think that's phenomenal. And just,
thank you.
Like I said, it moves me, just hearing, gets me a little watery, like just listening to you tell. So I want to, kind of go back a little bit now.
I want to add just one thing, right? And this is very important. Back when I started my career, insurance was not the thing I wanted to do, right? And then found myself in benefits, right? Now I'm in insurance. Now I own an agency. Oh my gosh, right? And then, it's like I didn't want to sell. Somebody kind of pointed it out, and I went back and started selling, and now we're successful. And then there's been other pieces where, no, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to recruit, train, and develop. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But then I find myself doing it, and we become successful in it. And so the overall arching kind of lesson there is that the thing that you resist the most is sometimes the things that you would be most successful at, right? And I've seen it time and time again in my story, resisting insurance. Now I own an agency. Resisting selling. Now that's what I do. Resisting training, recruiting, and developing people. And, that's a huge part of what we do on our voluntary worksite side. And so, if you're on the fence about, should I get into insurance, or you said, insurance is not for me. Oh, no, blah, 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 once again, remember, sometimes the thing that you resist the most is the thing that you'll be most successful at. And God doesn't allow you to move on in your story and in his story, right? History. He doesn't allow you to move on until you master where you're at, right? And so it is a process, but each step of the way can be so extremely rewarding, right?
Absolutely. You mentioned, a few individuals that, helped you early in your career. You mentioned Ashley, you mentioned Chris, Ashley Core and Chris Renkar, shout out to VAHU, and we want to talk about that as well. Both great people. And you said, hey, look, once you put yourself out there, these people started coming to you to help you along the way in your journey as well. So can you, speak to just, okay, so you majored in, you said psychology, right? You majored in, okay, so you majored in psychology. How'd you get from psychology to working in HR?
I think I interviewed.
Okay.
I think
so
I
you
never
found an
really did
opportunity.
anything with the psychology thing. It was like I started in business management, believe it or not, and found myself always reading and interested in what my roommate was doing when she was studying, and she would start, talking about all this psychology stuff. And so I ended up changing my major because I liked what she was doing better. But psychology is just the study of people, and human resources is working with people. And I can't honestly say that anything from my degree, other than young people, algebra does come back into my life like every day, trying to find the difference in the percentage. So algebra is important, pay attention. But in any case, I can't honestly say that anything in my degree, lended a hand to my success other than the fact that I had a degree.
Right.
And that's the wonderful thing about starting a career in insurance is that maybe you do have a degree, and that's fantastic, right? But maybe that degree just didn't get you where you wanted to go, right? My husband has a degree in communications. Now, if he could be a baseball commentator or baseball announcer, he's a fantastic voice for it, but that's not going to pay the bills either, right? That's more like a hobby. So he has a degree in communications, and when I met him, we joke he was selling trash cans. He was really doing like document destruction, but he was selling trash cans. And I said, no, I can't marry somebody who sells trash cans for a living. And so he got into recruiting, and he's a very great recruiting manager for a very large company here in Virginia. However, where's I going? So if you have a degree, that's fantastic. But like I said, maybe that degree didn't get you where you wanted to go. Maybe you're not doing, or maybe you did get into something that you wanted to do and you realized it wasn't all that, it's not all that, right? And you're not really enjoying it. So if you don't have a degree and you're looking for something, it's okay too, because you don't need to have a degree to get into insurance. You do have to pass a background check, right? So you can't have any felony charges. But even if you don't have a degree, that piece of paper is something tangible, and it's a highly coveted license that lots and lots of employers are looking for. And so, maybe you just weren't fortunate enough to be able to go to college, and that's okay. We really don't care, if you have a degree or if you don't have a degree. If you can get a license, your license is the license to drive. That's literally, license to sell, license to do whatever you want. And people will be calling you, and you'll be getting emails every single day about, hey, we think you would be great, come work for us.
Right,
I want to do car insurance, and that's another, I don't want to do car insurance. I don't want to do home insurance. Again, resisting, right? I looked at it, but yeah, I'm still resisting that one. I'm not
No, you spoke exactly to, what I really wanted to highlight is that, where you start really, I don't want to say is irrelevant, because everything that you go through kind of adds to, who you become. But, you can really start from just about anywhere and still end up in this industry and have success in this industry as well. So, you started with psychology, you went to human resources, you were very resistant, to insurance and benefits specifically, but yet you ended up in the benefit side, resistant to sales, which is also interesting because you had success in sales in your early telemarketing career and in your network marketing career as well, but still found yourself, back on that side with employee benefits. It's just amazing how things just kind of come back, full circle. So working for a brokerage, and let's talk about like being a broker, because you're a broker now. You're full service. You're doing the core benefits. You're doing the voluntary, and when we talk about voluntary, we're talking about those other coverages that kind of pair alongside the core, which is the major medical. You're doing everything. What's the difference between someone who is a broker versus someone who is simply an independent agent?
Yeah, so I think a lot of that just kind of varies, on what kind of lines you're representing, right? I know I've seen a lot in the personal lines, personal and commercial lines, which is like home, auto, life, business, commercial insurance. A lot of times there, and a little bit on what we do, you're held captive, right? So if you're an agent that's held what's called captive, you can only represent the products of the company you represent, right? And that was one of my big things, was that if I was to, work with certain carriers, I didn't want to be held captive, right? Meaning I couldn't sell other carriers. Now I do have preferred carriers I do work with, and there are some that I only work with only because of I believe in the company.
Mm-hmm.
But they're, being an agent, you can represent separate, different lines. But being a broker, you are basically a representative of every carrier that you represent,
Gotcha.
right? So you could be an independent agent and a broker,
Mm-hmm.
but as a brokerage, I think maybe we just probably bring more to the table in terms of service and consulting, if you will, than maybe just an independent agent. An independent agent writes the policy, sets it, and forgets it, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure there's some agents out there that don't, they probably are there to service it, but we, we're probably more along the lines of a consultant as well, keeping people, compliant and bringing tools and resources to the table that, an independent agent may not necessarily invest in.
Got you. Yeah, right. So you're going to have the other admin resources that you can kind of back up your clients with. And you mentioned, the consulting aspect. So you're really working kind of alongside them, and you can look at all those carriers and say, hey, do you like this? Do you like this? Maybe this one works better for you, versus if you were, solely just the independent agent, you're coming in and saying, hey, look, this is what we got. This is what the option is.
We always show, like, especially on medical, we'll always show all the different options. So that, a big thing of ours is making sure that you're making educated decisions. So we want to show you, that carrier A, the reason why their pricing looks like this is because if you compare it to, carrier B, this is where they're different, and you've got networks and hospitals and access and different pharmacy formularies and in and out of network and, preferred providers and gated networks. There's all these different things that kind of play into how that premium can be affected based on, how robust your coverage is. And then there's alternate programs that are out there as well that you want to look at that bring in different aspects that possibly can affect price and benefit plans. And so, we're consulting from an aspect of, this is everything that's available. Now, there's paths to least resistance, and then there's paths that require a lot of work, so what's important to you, and so, we want to make sure they see all the options every year.
You're guiding that decision-making process. Okay.
That's right.
I just wanted to bring that up because sometimes the question gets asked, oh, well, what's the difference between a broker, and an agent, so I wanted to make sure I had a broker to explain that, that difference, so folks, have that idea. I want to shift gears, just a little bit, because now, you're at a place in your career, with all of your experiences, where you're actually taking on other responsibilities as I mentioned earlier, introducing you, president of the local NAHU, which is VAHU, Virginia Association of Health Underwriters. How'd that come about? How'd you get involved with trade organizations, specifically with NAHU? And what does that really mean, for a new agent or existing agent to get involved with trade organizations like that?
Sure. So I had heard about the National Association of Health Underwriters, VAHU, years and years ago. VAHU is our state chapter, and then we've got 4 local regional chapters within the state, in Eastern, Piedmont, Southwest, and the Central Virginia, which also encompasses Northern Virginia. And when I was working for the larger agency, I'd heard about it, and I just didn't really see the value from a membership because I had a legislative team that was keeping me up to date. I had all of the resources available, somewhat to me. I had a wonderful, wonderful mentor, three wonderful mentors at my agency, and so actually four. Now, I mean, I keep thinking there's like four of them. And so, I just didn't really kind of see the need to get involved in an agency like that. So when I started out on my own, I did receive numerous calls from, if they ever watch this, they know who they are, to come and join VAHU, be our secretary, do this, do that. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But then I realized, as a smaller agency, I don't have all those resources. I don't have a compliance team and a legislative team and an advocacy team that's really going out and advocating for my career and my business right now. And so how was I going to stay up to date on what was going on legislatively? Because our world changes like daily. I mean, daily, not only from the state level, but also from the national level. And so, so how was I going to stay up to date on all of that? So, one of my broker friends invited me to our conference, which is held in Virginia Beach in June. And I went down to the conference, and a representative, or kind of like he's now on the board of trustees, but he basically came to me and said, why aren't you a member? Why aren't you a member? You need to get involved. You need to get involved. And I saw all of the benefits that would come about, from professional development to compliance to legislative issues, networking. And one of my most favorite things about the association is just getting together with other brokers to share ideas. I mean, we've got a circle of brokers and agents that, if you're having a problem or you have a question or you can't find an answer, it's a simple phone call, text message, or an email saying, hey, I need a template for this, or I've got this question, or I'm having a problem with this carrier. And somebody out there has gone through it. And so even though we all do the same things and we all compete with one another, there is a sense of camaraderie within the organization that we're really here to just help one another, right? And so, so I ended up joining at conference and agreed to become this, after a year, the incoming president at that time, who was Ashley, needed a secretary, and we had done some work together, and I felt like I couldn't say no. And so he said, I need a secretary for my board. And I said, okay, well, I'll jump in. I mean, I can take notes, once a month and write them up and post them to a Google Drive. And little did I know that he was not only president of the state chapter, but he was also president of the local chapter. So I found myself being secretary for both without even knowing it. So being secretary, I think it was like 2 years. I got to see things from the regional level and also from the state level. And so he was looking for his replacement, the president-elect, if you will. And having worked with him for 2 years, just kind of, or for a year, really, it was really a year at the state level. Having working with him, just started jotting down, like, this is what the new president needs to do. This is, and I just started writing down all these ideas. And what if you did it this way? And if you did it that way? And I just started just dumping down onto a cocktail napkin. And Ashley said after lunch, she goes, well, it looks like you have your strategic plan all set. Welcome, Ms. President, you've been hired. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Well, once I had it kind of like all written down, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do this. And so then the pandemic, so that was in like July of 2019, then the pandemic hit. So that just turned everything upside down, trying to manage an association during a pandemic. And then, just getting your feet wet in the first year, you're like, okay, wait, I can't stop now. There's way too much to do. There's more stuff that we can do. And so I ended up, I really think that the president position is a 2-year commitment. You're just getting started in your first year, and second year, you're ready to rock and roll. So I ended up doing a second term for this year. And just making sure everybody has what they need. And we're planning a great conference. I know you're helping out with that. And just my whole vision for this year is that agents like me, right, smaller micro agencies or independent agents or independent brokers or whatever you want to call them, that we are more equipped when we leave conference next year than we've ever been. Our world is changing so quickly, and we don't know what the future is right now. There's public options and state, exchanges, and there's all kinds of talk of, another, revamping of healthcare reform. We don't know what that's going to look like, and that affects our future and our livelihoods. And so what can we do to pivot and basically go beyond the status quo, right? And, be able to be prepared to have the conversations with, larger groups or small groups or whoever, be it just equipping our agents to be able to have conversations that they weren't equipped to have when they first arrived to our conference. And so all of our programming in 2022 is really trying to drive us so that we are able to accomplish that, right? Whether it's self-funding or captives or, we have reference-based pricing, and there's all these different models that are floating around there. And how do you design a self-funded plan, and who can pull it all together, and who does claim mitigation, and what is, guided networks, and all these new terms that are coming about, that you see them in your emails, but you don't necessarily have time to read them, right? So let's pull all of our programming together. Our legislative team is doing an amazing job with, we've got General Assembly opening very soon, so we'll have a better idea of what topics that we're going to be advocating for. NAHU on the national level does a fantastic job of advocating on the national level for change. The membership value is amazing, whether it's from a networking perspective, professional development, leadership development, benefit perks of just being a member. There's just so much that is jammed in there that, I wish that, we need to do a better job of making sure that our members are fully aware of how much is available to them at their fingertips because they are members.
Yeah. No, I think a couple of things that you touched on there, the fact that, we're in Virginia, so, we're a part of the Virginia Association of Health Underwriters, but, wherever someone is listening, because, the listenership, for this is definitely US wide and worldwide even, but for those who are US based,
your state has a
National
chapter.
Association of Health Underwriters is an organization that you can access wherever you are in the country.
Right.
What would you say is the benefit for, someone who is newly licensed? If they're newly licensed, they're in the life and health space, where could they find some benefit in either VAHU if they're local to Virginia, or NAHU in their own local chapter, wherever they are?
So all right, so what was the question again? If they're newly licensed, where would they go?
Someone, yes, for a newer agent, kind of just joining the industry, what benefits might they find joining either Virginia's NAHU,
any of the state chapters across the nation,
or nationally, wherever they are?
Yeah, every state has a chapter. Okay, every state has a chapter, and pretty much the benefits are the same across the board. So you've got advocacy, you've got legislative, you've got your membership benefits, you've got your networking benefits, you've got the advocacy, and then most importantly, your professional development. NAHU has a fantastic, there's a leadership development course that starts up. It's a 12-module course that is brand new this year. So if you're looking to get into leadership, any type of leadership. It's a great program that they've put together. There's also all of the professional development. We've got the Registered Employee Benefit Consulting course that you can go and get some letters. I always wanted letters after my name, so I do have the certification, REBC. You can become a certified registered underwriter, the registered health underwriter, the RHU. But then there's also all different kinds of certifications. So if you wanted to get certified in self-funding or worksite benefits or wellness programs, or there's probably, I don't know how many
There's a lot of
certifications, but there's just tons of them. If you're want to go into an account manager, there's a certification for account managers. They're certified for health consultants. There's certifications like all over the place. So if you're new to the industry, NAHU is a great place to go, state and local, state and national chapters, simply from the professional development standpoint. There are certain states that also have an organization, it's called the Vanguard Committee or the Vanguard Program, which is kind of being renamed to kind of emerging leaders. And so this is a great program for brand new insurance people to be mentored by people who have been in the industry for a while, as well as carriers. So you can go and get a license, but God bless you, you don't know anything.
Absolutely. No, that's 100% true, right? When you go past the test,
like you need to be able to go somewhere to go and get the information you need in order to know what is going on.
Right.
Because the license is just the license. It's not real life, So in any case, just like SHRM has their, certifications for health professionals, NAHU has our Registered Employee Benefit Consultant, REBC certification as well. And the account manager certification. So all kinds of wonderful professional development opportunities.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, just to kind of co-sign that, the programs that NAHU has from a CE standpoint. I know that, Virginia regularly has, meeting for the CE, but what NAHU has as far as the certifications and other professional development opportunities are very, very expansive. I'm actually working on that REBC right now. I'm two classes away. I've done most of it. I'm 77.1% complete.
Awesome.
Yes, so much great information and so much great value there. As we start to kind of shift into the last kind of portion of this conversation, Karen, at this point, look, you've transitioned careers, you've built an agency that has become successful in really a relatively short period of time. You've taken on roles and responsibilities with a large trade organization throughout the entire state here in this region. How do you, couple things, how do you stay motivated now, going forward as we continue to move forward? Like, so what keeps you motivated? That's the first question. And then the second question is, what's the dream now? What's the next step for Karen Hudgins and New Hope?
Oh boy, that would give away some trade secrets. What keeps me motivated? Well, I think every day is a new day, right? And I just love what I do, and there's a saying that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So I really don't feel like this is work. I love coming into work. I love solving problems. I love helping people, right? If you're looking for a career where helping people is your mantra or is just ingrained in you, you couldn't ask for a better career, honestly. It could be, today we had somebody whose provider kept on saying, no, your insurance is inactive, right? And we knew it was active, and helping that employee, have the peace of mind that we've got their back, go get well, go figure out what's wrong. We'll take care of stuff with your provider. All right. I think, I had one time where I came in and I learned that one of our insured's wives were diagnosed with breast cancer. and looked at what the benefits they had and realized that they had applied for a cancer policy. And so I said, well, I said, you've got a cancer policy. That policy is going to pay $10,000 just for your diagnosis. And they said, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's great, great, great. And so I got them all set up on how to do the claim and everything. So I contacted him a couple of months later and I said, oh, how's your wife doing? And she's, oh, great. She's going through surgery. She's getting the reconstructive surgery, in a couple of weeks. And I said, well, make sure you continue to save all of that documentation and submit that up against your claim, because not only do you have that diagnosis benefit, but they're going to pay you along the way of your treatment. So the surgery, the chemo, the radiation. And he was absolutely blown away that he was going to continue to receive money that far exceeded what his out-of-pocket medical expenses were, to help pay for this breast cancer. And so that, and we've had, it's just a lot of times what we do is not always the prettiest, right? But we had another mom call and inform us that her son had been killed in a motorcycle accident. And she found all these insurance papers, and I don't know what any of this is. So we went on, we looked up what insurance, and sure enough, an individual had enough life insurance that we had sold him to be able to take care of the funeral costs. And so this mom was now unbelievably relieved that now she has, money to be able to give her son a proper burial. So I think that's probably like what I love most. It's not always the best, stories, cancer and dying, but, like I said in the beginning, what we try to do is ensure that, not to toot our own horns, but everybody has the financial protections that they need in order to protect themselves, their family from large claims and huge expenses. And then just finding the missing piece of the puzzle, getting a 5-star Google review, I think that's where, that's what I love. And I love our clients. They're like family and friends to us. We deeply, deeply care about them. And, they just become like family to us, so. And then you asked, so I hope that answers your question.
No.
Today, we never know what we're going to walk into, but my desk never looks the same. Every day when I leave.
That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you going. But
we're not. We may in some cases we all build the same widget, but we don't all manage the same widget.
Touche, yeah.
But in any case, what is the future and the next steps for us? Oh man. I have tons of ideas of what we can do. I've listened in on podcasts and attend conferences, and I get these ideas, of what can we do to make things better, and how can we help America get healthier, and so we've got a couple of ideas in terms of some new initiatives that we may roll out here in the future, but nothing is concrete, so I don't really want to put it out there yet.
Yeah, no, I get that. Awesome.
And so I think, and then, just build the business so I can sell it. No, just kidding. Sell it and retire. No, I love what I do.
That's important.
And I love to work. Remember, I'm not a stay-home mom teaching ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. And so, I think just doing what we've done, money isn't the end all to everything, but it certainly gives you choices, right? Absolutely. And so it is just as honorable to sell as it is to buy, right? Yes, it is. And so, the world is your oyster, in sales, insurance, it doesn't matter what kind of sales, right? It pays you in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. And if you're willing to go to work and hit it hard for 3 to 5 years, it will take care of you in 3 to 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. Build a name for yourself, brand yourself, get your name out there, be top of mind. Just build your business and build your reputation, and everything else will just fall into place.
Absolutely. So you mentioned it, and you said it kind of joking, but it is a very viable opportunity, for an exit strategy in insurance to get acquired, right? You could sell that book of business. Not only do renewals pay you,
I'm
but
not doing that anytime soon. If any of my clients are, don't worry.
right. No, but we're just saying from a business standpoint, this is something that
I mean, what does any business owner, every business owner basically starts a business so that I want to build my business where my business is working so I don't have to.
There you go.
But I'll always be part of it. I'll never get out.
No, I love it. Do you feel like, this is my next to last question, do you feel like having a license or getting that license has changed you or helped you grow as a person? And we can even kind of encapsulate that into your experience in opening your own agency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I started pushing paper and doing benefits administration back after I went back to work and put my kid into preschool, I went saying that I wasn't going to get a license. I didn't want to get a license because I didn't want to take a test, right? Don't make me get licensed. Well, when we got acquired, all right, guess what? I had to go and get a license. And so I studied for the license and I took the test, and that was the day. I showed up at the wrong testing center, anxiety, panic attack, the whole 9 yards. But anyhow, so again, having the license, it gives you choices, right? It gives you options. I could I could be captive. I could work for one agent. I could work for, all the carriers, or I could decide to go work for just one carrier. And there's so many different places that a license can take you. You can go into voluntary worksite. You can do Medicare. You can do group. You can do individual. You can do a little bit of everything, right? But I would recommend, that finding a mentor in an organization like VAHU to help you get through, because like I said, it changes constantly. And there's risk that comes with it. If you sell somebody, a health insurance plan and it doesn't do what you said it was going to be doing, you want to make sure you're protected there.
That doesn't mean you want to use it.
Yeah, that's right. So, did the license change my life? No, but it provided me more options and opportunities to be able to do more, with whatever I decided to do. That's what I decided. I could have gone and worked for somebody else and gotten a company car and a sign-on bonus, but I'd rather work for me. I'm the best boss there is.
Yes. So I've heard, And look, look, to close out, when we met, you told me about 4 animals, right? And you gave an example of these 4 animals, and you said, hey, which animal do you think you are? So I would like you to talk about those 4 animals. And then I want you to share what you think is the best animal personality type for an insurance career.
Oh, goodness. All right. So there are basically 4 personality types, and they all relate back to a dog. All right. So the first dogs are pit bulls. Okay. And pit bulls are the type of dog that will bite first and ask questions later, right? So they don't need a lot of information to make a decision, right? They just say, okay, here's my opportunity. I'm either going to bite or I'm going to go. And if I bite, then I'm just going to figure it out as I go along. We figure it out. I have to, or we have to. We have a saying around here that says, oh, we'll figure it out. And anytime somebody says we'll figure it out, the response is we have to. So the first dog is the pit bull, right? So they don't need a lot of information to make decisions. They see an opportunity and they take it, right? The second dog is a Jack Russell, all right? And so Jack Russells are the ones that are like party animals, right? They're super out there, love to be, they just derive their energy from being around people. They just want to have fun, right? If it's not fun, then why do it, right? If it doesn't make you happy, why do it? And so, there's the Jack Russells that, I want to be with people. I want to be out. I want to be talking. I want to meet people. I want to meet new friends. Okay. and everybody loved me. Then there are golden retrievers, right? Golden retrievers are super loyal, right? They're all about family. They'll never leave you. They are, family focused, caring, just unbelievably loyal. Okay. And so they don't make a decision very quickly. But when they do make that decision, they stand by it, and they never waver, right? And then the last is the German Shepherd. So the German Shepherd is the one that walks the perimeter 20 times, make sure all the doors and the windows are locked, right? Highly compliant, right? They need a lot of information, right? They're not going to just make a decision right on the fly. They need to know why something works, how it works. Why do I need this? When do I need this? What if I don't do it? The pros, the cons, the ifs, right? They need everything. So you've got your pit bulls, your Jack Russells, your golden retrievers, and your German Shepherds. So if I were to tell you what I am, I'm a pit bull with a little bit of Jack Russell, okay? And until I had kids, I had no golden retriever in me at all. So I've been able to develop my golden retriever. And then I'm very, very thankful that God creates German Shepherds, because that's probably, I am not a German Shepherd. I'm hire my German Shepherds, right? They're the ones that are making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and all my calculations work right. Because I think, Jack Russell and German Shepherd, that's just like bipolar opposites. They just don't mesh. So that's kind of where I am. You'd asked what dog personality works best, and there's no answer. They all work. All right. Because each dog personality brings something else to the table, right? A pit bull is just to go after it, right? The Energizer Bunny, the Jack Russell, right? They want to meet people, so they're people networkers, right? They just want to be out. Like, let's have fun, right? Let's meet people, let's make friends. The German Shepherds, they're going to take their time, and they're going to be, because of their loyalty and their family focus, they're going to be ones that are going to be able to position things from how is this not only going to benefit the employer, but how is it going to make an impact to family, right? They can really design their conversations around that. And then your German Shepherds, right? They're the ones that are just going to make sure that, everything is in place, and that there's a process to it. People are fully aware of what's at stake, right? So it doesn't. What's most important in terms of the dog personalities, right, is it's not necessarily what kind of personality are you. It's can you gear your sales presentation and your prospecting to the personality of the other person, right? Because if the other person is a German Shepherd, right, and you're a golden retriever or a pit bull, right, your German Shepherd isn't going to make a decision right on the fly. They're not going to buy right on the fly. You know that you're going to have to provide them with a lot of information in order for them to make an informed decision. If you're talking to a golden retriever, you want to gear that conversation towards, how is this going to benefit your employees and your family? Because that golden retriever thinks their employees are family, right? Those are family-owned businesses. They have great benefits. They take care of their employees. If you're talking to a Jack Russell, if you finally get them to nail them down on the calendar because they haven't canceled on you 20 times, you want to gear your presentation on, like, okay, so when we come and talk to your employees, how is it going to be fun, right? How are we going to make it fun for your employees? And if they're a pit bull, they're just, okay, yeah, that sounds great, let's do it, right? They don't care about the process. They don't care about anything else. It's like, yep, go ahead, come on in, let's do it, So it's really about ensuring that you develop each of those characteristics within yourself and understanding the other person that you're talking to, so that you can gear your presentation as a new insurance agent to that person that you're presenting to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen. Hey, look, for all of those personality types who want to get in contact with you and speak to you more about New Hope, speak to you about opportunities, maybe to, enter the industry, maybe with some questions, how can folks get in contact with you?
The easiest way is just go to our website. It's newhopebenefits.net, N-E-T, newhopebenefits.net. And you can reach out to us through our website, and I think all of our contact information is up there. So that would be the easiest way to reach us, or info@newhopebenefits.net is our email address. And I guess maybe I am a little bit more of a golden retriever. I want to help people too. So, if you're looking to get in, you don't know how to start, give either one of us a call. We're happy to help. If you're looking for new opportunities, I know who's hiring.
Right.
If you want information about VAHU and NAHU, I'm happy to chat about that and get you in the right place for that. Anything any of our listeners need, if you need to get connected to your local VAHU chapter, I can tell you how to do that. So I'm always available to help, because at the end of the day, if you help enough people get what they want, they're going to help you get what you want. So, so we're here to help.
Great words from the late, great Zig Ziglar as well. Absolutely. That's right. Thank you, Karen, once again for coming on, sharing your time. And thank you all for listening and sharing your time, or watching this video if you're watching it on YouTube. And maybe you heard something, regardless of the type of dog that you are and your personality, that made you think maybe you should get a license. Until the next time, take care. Have a great day. All right.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Same to you.